Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video I have an exciting haul from Lurid Lacquer. This has been my first haul from this brand in quite a long time. I think it might even be my first haul from them since they reopened. So there were quite a few previously released polishes that I wanted to grab. There was a mystery polish reveal that I had on my wish list that was actually available. I'm really excited about that one. And then I did get two from the most recent collection, as well as a charity polish for the brain tumor awareness that I definitely wanted to get. Plus, I do have one of their mystery bags over there. I'll make sure to let you guys know spoiler warnings before we get into the swatches of those two polishes. But today we are going to be swatching these, and as I've been doing lately, I have picked out a few colors for each polish to go over. And just because of room, I only did one for the first polish, but two for the rest of the colors. Before we get started, if you're new and you like nail polish content, make sure to hit the little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And let's go ahead and jump in. The first polish that we're going to take a look at is from that new collection, and this is Choose Life. This is one of the magnetics, and this was one that definitely caught my eye when I saw the swatches of it because it has a lot of different colors going on. It also has reflective glitter, as you can see, sparkling away. This one is a really difficult one to describe because when the magnetic particle is still dispersed in here, it's kind of this mysterious mix of colors. You can see greens and coppers. You get black around the edges. You see flashes of blue, and actually in that blue there's some purple. It's really beautiful. And then when you magnetize it, look at that. Oh, then all of a sudden you can see this beautiful green. You can see the blue more clearly. You get this blackened base, and that orange pulls up amazingly into the magnetic line. Yeah, this one really caught my attention. So here it is in one coat, all on its own. And we're just going to hover the magnet over it for about 30 seconds. And there is one coat. So that one definitely has a squishy base. So we'll come back here in a second and give it a second coat. But the color that I chose to try this one over is from Orly, and this one is In Full Plume. That is a teal cream, and here is one coat over that. Ooh! So basically how I picked this color as one of the base colors is I looked at the polish when it was magnetized, and I was trying to see the colors that I wanted to pull more of out of the polish. As you saw in the bottle, the base definitely blackened a lot. And look at this, with that teal under it, you get more of that blue to show up. It's not quite as blackened. That is exactly how I hoped it would look. That looks really great. Okay, let's go ahead and do a second coat of this color all on its own. All right, so there's two coats on its own versus one coat over In Full Plume. Yeah, I really like it over that teal. I think that adds a beautiful opaqueness to it, and it definitely helps pull out a blue in it. And then here is a third coat. All right, so there we have three coats on its own and one coat over In Full Plume. It's beautiful on its own, but I think for this one, my favorite is that one coat over In Full Plume. That looks awesome. So that one was Choose Life. Next from that collection, I got Better Than Expected. This one was really incredible because this is a perfect one for summer. Of course, we're still in spring, but I really enjoy this kind of a color for summer, so I was excited to get it. And this is another one where the swatches of it looked amazing. It's this bright neon orangey pink, plus it has an amazing shifting shimmer that goes from green to this fuchsia at the edges. This is another amazing shimmer polish. So let's go ahead and see this one swatched first, all on its own in one coat. That one's actually pretty opaque for a shimmer polish in just one coat. We will come back for a second coat though here in a second. The colors that I decided to try, I picked two. The first one is from LA Colors, Good Vibes. This one is sort of a pastel or bleached neon in an orange. And then the second one that I thought I'd pull is from OPI. This one is called Stay Out All Bright. And I thought that this one would be interesting to try with that color because some of that green has sort of a gold mixed in with it, and I thought putting it over a yellow might sort of help disguise that yellow. So I'm curious how that one's going to turn out. So let's try it over Good Vibes. Ooh, yeah, this one is a pretty nice match for that nice bright orange base. Gives it a boost in opacity. And I was a little bit hesitant about choosing a softer neon instead of a full-on bright orange like it is in the bottle, but I really like how that turned out. And then here it is over Stay Out All Bright. Like I said, this was kind of an interesting pick for me. I'm very curious how this is going to look. So that is interesting. It sort of gives this tangerine orange shade. I don't think it really blocks out any of that gold shimmer though. You can still see it pretty nicely, but you do get a completely different shade of orange there. So here's a second coat of Better Than Expected, all on its own. So far, compared to putting it over an orange, you're getting a little bit more of like almost a grapefruity pink color, whereas when you put it over that light orange from LA Colors, you're getting more of an orangey pink neon. There's a subtle difference there in the tones, and then of course over that OPI, it's a completely different shade. Now this one I would say is going to be somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater. This is it in just 2 coats on my nail. And yeah, I definitely think some people could get away with this in just 2 coats. That's how I've been actually wearing this kind of a shimmer polish from Bee's Knees. Even their more sheer polishes in just 2 coats. Really been enjoying how those look on the nail. You do see visible nail line, of course, but I love how they look. Just very soft and ethereal. But let's go ahead and do a 3rd coat just to see how opaque we can get it and how rich of a color we can get. So there's 3 coats. And yeah, that is definitely opaque in 3 coats. So there's the subtle differences between all 3 colors on its own in 3, 1 coat over Good Vibes and 1 coat over Stay Out All Bright. And in other lights, you definitely can see that bluish purple shift in all of these, although obviously in the shimmer polish all on its own, it's going to be the strongest. But that one was Better Than Expected. Next up is the charity polish for the Brain Tumor Awareness Box, and this one is called F is for Friends. And this one is a really beautiful teal polish that has a lot going on. You have hollow, you have that larger particled shimmer, so you have shifts upon rainbows, you have a very strong red to green to gold shift in that larger particled shimmer, plus you have the hollow particles. This is another one that really caught my attention when I saw live swatches of it. The colors, the shifts, of course the larger particled shimmer. You hear me mention that all the time. It is one of my many favorite things that I love to see in nail polish. Gets me every time, and the base color of this is absolutely gorgeous. So here's 1 coat of F is for Friends, all on its own. Look at those beautiful colors. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this one. So we're going to let that one dry down, and we'll come back for a 2nd coat and see if we need a 3rd. But I did choose 2 to try this one over. The first one was sort of trying to match the base color. This is an OPI called I'm Yacht Leaving. And then I decided it would be interesting to try it over a light blue. This is another LA Colors called Splashy. So here it is over I'm Yacht Leaving. Yeah, that matches that base nicely. It actually adds a bit of a brightness to it as well, since I'm Yacht Leaving is a little bit brighter than the base is all on its own. But you can definitely see those beautiful shifts in that shimmer. And here it is over Splashy. So that one gives it more of a brighter sky blue effect underneath it. For this one, I basically was trying to stick within the blues and greens because the base of this, as you can see in 1 coat, is fairly opaque all on its own, and I wasn't too sure how this would end up looking over a darker, different color. But I am curious enough, I do think I want to try it over, let's try it over a green. Not that that's straying from the color family just yet, but I do happen to have one swatched. This was part of my swatches from my D stash. I forget who it was, but here it is in 1 coat over a dark green. That looks good too. That looks really nice. So just to compare it to the other colors, not that we've finished giving F is for Friends its full opaqueness there, but just a quick comparison color-wise. So we have the teal, that sort of a seafoam green from OPI. We have the light sky blue from LA Colors, and there we have that grass green. But yeah, subtle differences. I would say it adds a deepness compared to the seafoam green from OPI. And obviously, since it's a green and not a blue, you get a completely different look than we do from that sky blue. But I do want to see this over another color. That's what I was initially looking for. This is from more of my random swatches from when I was doing my D-stash. And I was hoping to find like along the lines of one of the other colors that I have. This is The Spice Is Right, but I don't have that randomly swatched. But let's go ahead and try it over one of these hot pinks. Those might be from Pretty Woman. I think I was doing a comparison of two bottles that I thought might be the same. One might have not had a label. In any case, let's go ahead and see one coat over a hot pink, a bright pink, or a fuchsia, and see how it looks. I'm letting my curiosity get the better of me. All right, there it is in one coat. So there it is compared to the OPI. And look how much pinker the flash is. The base almost turns this sort of a blurply, denim-y blue. And yeah, it definitely affects how pink that shimmer is. So what an unusual and unexpected way that turned out over a bright pink. Huh. Who knew? That actually looks pretty nice. Let's go ahead and do a second coat of F is for Friends. Yeah, this one is actually very impressive with its opacity, considering how much is going on in here. That is beautiful in two coats. Yeah, I don't think that one needs a third. Yeah, no, it is fully opaque for me in two coats. So two coats all on its own, one coat over OPI's I'm Not Leaving, and one coat over Splashy from LA Colors. Then this is it in one coat over a dark green. And this is one coat of it over a bright pink. Very unexpected. I like that one though. That turned out really beautifully. And that's why I experiment. You just never know how something's gonna look. So that one was F is for Friends. So I did just realize that I probably should have spoilered this middle one too, because this is also a polish that was sold as a mystery. So apologies about that. Spoiler warnings for the charity polish for No Child Hungry. Let's go ahead and take a peek at it. This one is No Child Hungry, and this one turns out to be a blue. This is a bright, almost sapphire blue. It has holographic flakes and a beautiful green shifting shimmer. I want to say I was seeing a little bit of like a purple towards the edges, but it is a bit shy, and that shift might only show up in certain lighting. But let's go ahead and see it swatched. So here's one coat all on its own. So that one is a little bit sheerer than F is for Friends, but I love the shifting shimmer in this one, and of course that scattering of those hollow flakes is beautiful. And then I picked two colors to try that one over. The first one is Orly's Off the Grid. This is a deep blue. And then I wanted to see if I could pull any more of that purple out in that shift, and this is another LA Colors called Stay Humble. This one is a like lavender periwinkle cream. So here it is over Off the Grid. This one is basically trying to match the base color, which I think it does pretty nicely. That's a good color for this. You get, of course, that richness and opacity right off the bat. It's a good way of saving a limited edition polish if you want to do that. And then here it is over Stay Humble. And yeah, that gives it a little bit more of a purple undertone. I like that a lot. That is beautiful. I think in person it's even more lavender leaning. On my screen, it's kind of just a few shades lighter in blue than Off the Grid is, but in person I'm definitely seeing more of that lavender. So here's a second coat of it all on its own. So when you build up the shimmer, you can definitely see more of that green shift. And as I'm moving it around, I can see speckles of pink in there as well. I think this one does need a third coat though. So here's a third coat. So yeah, definitely there's a difference in tone richness. 3 coats all on its own still leaves sort of a softness in that blue, whereas in over that brighter blue from Orly, you get that bam in your face, brighter dark blue, and then over that softer lavender shade, you do get a softness that I think almost matches the base of it a little bit better, at least on camera. Again, in person, I am seeing much more of that lavender tone coming through in that LA Colors. But there it is, 3 coats, 1 coat, and 1 coat. So that charity polish was No Child Hungry. All right, now we're getting into another mystery. So again, apologies if you saw the polish down below. This one was initially sold as a mystery. This one was on my wish list though because I had seen it on someone else's videos. They were wearing it on their nails as they were swatching another group of polish. And I was just so mesmerized by this color on her nails that I had to know what color it was. So I found out what polish it was in the comments of her video and immediately put it on my wish list, even though I was not very confident I would be able to grab it because oftentimes the mysteries are harder to snag. But thankfully, when I made this order, it was available. So if you don't want to see spoilers of Good Math or any more spoilers of Good Math, turn away or skip to the next polish. We do have 2 more and then 2 of the mystery polishes from the mystery bags. But here is a Good Math. Like I said, this one was one that I was extremely excited to find that had been restocked or still available. I actually don't know which. It is a beautiful polish. It is that rich, almost dusty leaning purple, and it has stunning shifts. The stunning shifts I really don't feel are coming off very well in the bottle. I'm mainly only seeing sort of a pinky red to orange with some gold at the edges. But when I saw it on that other person's videos on her fingers, I think she had been swatching in front of natural lights sort of coming through her window. It was incredible. So I am, like I said, very, very excited to see this one swatched. Let's go ahead and see it in 1 coat. And there's that purple base. It's a little bit brighter out of the bottle. That is beautiful. And then I did decide to go ahead and try it over a neutral and see if that made a difference in opacity or changed the look at all. So I picked Orly's Rose All Day. And then I thought I would try to sort of match the base, although I think now I can tell I'm very off on that. But I picked the berry tone that I was seeing in that base. This is China Glaze's Traffic Jam. So let's see it in 1 coat over Rose All Day. And obviously because this has a purple base, it isn't going to let any of that pink show through. But as I mentioned, I wanted to see if this would help boost the opacity at all. And I'm thinking it does. That looks wonderful. Wow, that turned out amazingly. Wow. Okay, and then over Traffic Jam. That's pretty too. It definitely adds more of that berry tone to it. But wow, both of those turned out really great. If you didn't want to have to do more than 1 coat of this polish, I think that that is a great way of saving polish that might be harder to come by. But let's go ahead and see 2 coats all on its own. I think in person it's a bit more of a deep color in 2 coats all on its own versus the 1 coat over Rose All Day. But I think opacity-wise, I'm pretty happy with it in just 2 coats. That shifting shimmer is just incredible. I love a red and a purple. Beautiful combo. So that was Good Math. Next up is one of 2 of the polishes that I had on my wish list from her previous releases. This one is Let's Give Them Hell. And this one is a gorgeous polish. It has this sort of a berry leaning red base, and then again with a larger particled shifting shimmer. This one goes from a green to purple to blue. And you can kind of see an orange quality around the corners of the bottle. So here's one coat of it all on its own. This one definitely has a squishy base. But look at those colors. I love that shimmer. You can see the pink and the purple popping up towards the edges. That is awesome. So the colors that I chose to put this one over is Orly's The Spice Is Right to sort of match that base. This is a red leaning plum. And then I'm also going to try it over Orly's In the Conservatory. This is more of a rust or orange leaning color. I wanted to see how that would look. One coat over The Spice Is Right. This I think is going to match that base beautifully. Oh yeah. That is gorgeous. And then one coat over In the Conservatory. So obviously, again, for this polish, I was sort of sticking to a color range, plummy red or an orange, but I think both of those do match the base beautifully in their own way. Obviously, you're getting a bit more of a deeper color from The Spice Is Right, and you're getting a little bit more of that rusty tone to come through over In the Conservatory. So here's a second coat all on its own. Yeah, I love this shimmer. It is just stunning. You definitely get a richer quality when it's over a cream. But like I've said, with this type of a shimmer from Bee's Knees, I love how it looks on its own on the nails as well. So it just sort of depends on what look you want to go for. If you like the squishier look, or if you prefer the difference that it makes to put it over a dark cream. But those are just two options. I think this one could look equally good over a dark red, like a true red, because this one does lean plummy, at least in person. On my camera, it's trying to make it like a brick red, but this definitely has a plum quality to it, and other shades of orange, red, and even purple. So I think this one could be very versatile. And then let's see this one in a third coat, all on its own. See how much richness we can build in that base. So there's 3 coats versus one coat over The Spice Is Right and one coat over In the Conservatory, both by Orly. I would say of these 3, oh my goodness, that green in this though, especially in person, is just amazing. My favorite, I think, is it on its own, although I could definitely wear it over The Spice Is Right. That deepens up the base a little bit, and I do like it over In the Conservatory. I do think that is a nice option, but if I had to pick, I think it's sort of in order of how I like it. On its own is number 1, over The Spice Is Right is number 2, and over In the Conservatory is in 3rd place. But yeah, that is such a gorgeous combination of colors. So that was Let's Give Them Hell. All right, and then the last polish that I purchased from older collections before we get into that mystery bag, this one is To Teach Us About Our Past. And look at the colors in this one. You see beautiful bright purples, pinks, blues, greens, different shades of green. Wow. This is another one that has a stunning shifting shimmer in it. This one is actually pretty close, at least in the bottle, to Let's Give Them Hell, mostly in that base color. I think this one has an even larger particled shimmer, and as you can see, there is a difference in these shifts that it has. To Teach Us About Our Past has more of an electric, vibrant, flashy green at the face, whereas by comparison, the green in Let's Give Them Hell is a bit softer, and there's a brighter blue in To Teach Us About Our Past. But I did think the base colors were pretty close, except that I was sort of seeing a bit more brown in To Teach Us About Our Past. But there's a bottle comparison. So let's see one coat of To Teach Us About Our Past all on its own. And yeah, the base of this one definitely has a more brown or orange lean in that base. You get an even larger particle size in that beautiful shimmer. And then I did pick 2 colors to try this one over as well. We're going to try it over The Spice Is Right, same as we did Let's Give Them Hell. But the second polish that I chose is another Orly in a brown called Don't Be Suspicious. So here's one coat over The Spice Is Right. And yeah, I think this one definitely has more plummy redness than the To Teach Us About Our Past actually has. And then Don't Be Suspicious. Yeah, I think this one might match the base a little bit better. Look at that. Wow. Both of those are really interesting. They definitely darken up the polish and give you that boost of opacity. And you're getting two very different looks. Over The Spice Is Right, it's not exactly a light color, but it's lighter by comparison to Don't Be Suspicious, because that one is a pretty dark shade. So let's see a second coat build up on its own. So there's two coats. Yeah, that one definitely has a very unusual base color. You could play around with this over a bunch of different shades of orange, browns, reds, plummy tones, even into purples if you wanted to sort of get a really unusual, interesting color mix. That could look interesting. And then here's a third coat of To Teach Us About Our Past. And I think this third coat really amps up that orange-leaning brown quality that this polish has. And there it is compared to The Spice Is Right and Don't Be Suspicious. Three completely different looks there. Very different. I think for this one, I do like it over The Spice Is Right, but I think I was a little bit off in the color that I chose. I would be more curious to see this over a lighter chocolate brown and see if that sort of helps boost the opacity but not quite change the color so drastically, because both of these are definitely very different from it on its own. But yeah, that is one that I've had my eye on for a while. Happy to finally have it in my collection. So that last one before we get into the mysteries was To Teach Us About Our Past. All right, so now moving on into our spoiler section. Besides these two, sorry again about that, we are going to look at the two polishes that I got in the mystery bags. This was, I think, limited to just one bag per person. So even though I don't often get mystery bags anymore, especially when I'm paying retail for them, Bee's Knees Lacquer has been one of my favorite brands for a very long time, since pretty close to when they initially launched back in like 2017, 2018. So I know I'm probably going to have a pretty good chance of liking the polishes, and I did see a couple of spoilers on, I think, Caitlin's swatches and the Polished Mage. So I knew the concept, the recipe, if you will, for a lot of the polishes that were going to be in this mystery bag, and I figured I would like what I got, and I do. Let's go ahead and see the two polishes that I got in the bag, and of course, spoiler warnings are in effect. The first one that I got is Et in Avalon Ego. I'm actually not sure about that pronunciation at all, but this is a beautiful multichrome with reflective glitter. So this is the reason, people, that I did go ahead and decide to grab a mystery box, because this formulation from Bee's Knees is one of my all-time favorites. If they came out with back-to-back collections that had this kind of a formula, I would be jumping for joy. The initial collection that they had, which I forget the name of it, but it came out pre Bee's Knees Lacquer closure, so a year to 2 years ago, and I loved it. Loved it. It still has some of my favorite polishes from Bee's Knees, and this one I think could be up there. I have yet to swatch it, but it is absolutely gorgeous. You can see a ton of different colors. This has emerald green. It's got that gold. There's sort of this purpley tone. It is beautiful. So let's go ahead and see one coat of this one all on its own. I love that bright, rich green that you're seeing at the face. This one, of course, does have one of their sheer-ish formulas because it does have a lot going on, but I don't think it's going to be one of those super duper sheer ones. All right, so for this one, I did pull two different colors to try. The first one, actually, all of these are going to be Orly's. The first one is Let the Good Times Roll. This has been a color I've really been enjoying trying a lot of colors over. It's a beautiful, rich, sort of dusty green. And then the second color, also from Orly, is Persistent Memory. This one is a very rich, like a brown leaning bricky red. This was one of my favorites from this collection. And basically for this one, I was trying to pull colors that I was seeing in the different shifts, and I wanted to see the different ways I could get this polish to look. So here it is over the green, Let the Good Times Roll. And I can definitely see a lot of that purple around the edges over that color. Look at that. Beautiful. And then over Persistent Memory, I wanted to see if I could amplify that rich red that I was seeing at certain angles. And I think this does the job. Look at that. So hopefully you can see the difference on screen. You're getting much more of the green, almost sort of blending into that dark green cream. Whereas when you have it over a richer red, I'm definitely seeing more of that red pop through. And the shifts are looking slightly different. I think that's my favorite so far. I might be speaking ahead because we still have yet to build it up on its own, but I really like how that turned out. So let's build it up in a second coat all on its own. Yeah, that is beautiful all on its own. And even though I do like how it looks over a green that I feel sort of matches it, I am loving it over Persistent Memory. That one just is incredible. And here's a third coat of Mystery Polish number 1. That is gorgeous. So in 3 coats, I do feel like it's starting to match how intense I'm getting of a green feel in Let the Good Times Roll. And I do love it on its own. That's probably tied with how I like it over Persistent Memory, because Persistent Memory has to be up there in my favorites. That is a combination I definitely want to try to remember to wear in the fall. That is beautiful. So that first mystery polish was Et in Avalon Ego. And then the next mystery polish is Prince of the Pit. This might have been one of the ones that I saw swatched on one of those preview videos. And this is another beautiful combination of a blue multichrome with reflective glitter. So for this one, I'm seeing different shades of blue, purple, there's orange, teal. This is a beautiful mix. So here's one coat all on its own. This one I think has a little bit of a squishier formula than the previous polish. For this one, I did decide to try it over 3 different colors because I was seeing a lot of different shifts and I was curious how it would look over a few different colors. So for this one, I'm also trying it over Persistent Memory. That's that brown leaning brick red, but we're also trying it over a dark purple. This is on the edge. And then I'm also trying it over a dark blue, and this one is Blue Tango. So here it is over Persistent Memory. Ooh. Yeah, this gives it that deep, like burgundy base, and I love a blue and green flashing off of that type of base color. That is gorgeous. Oh, yeah, that is really pretty. And then let's try it over on the edge, that dark, rich purple. Ooh. That looks beautiful too. Ooh. I like that as well. So that gives us more of like almost a dark blue with purple around the edges. So we're not having a ton of that purple really show straight on through, but it does amp up the opacity quite nicely. And then let's see it over Blue Tango. That one is our dark blue. Interesting. Huh. So that one, by comparison, gives more of like a muted blue look, which is very interesting because over the purple, it's giving more blue. How interesting is that? Again, you just never know what combination is going to work. What base color might just really make that polish pop. All right, let's see a second coat of Prince of the Pit all on its own. So in 2 coats, we're building up more of that shimmer. I think this one is going to need a 3rd coat for full opacity. And here is a 3rd coat all on its own. See how rich of a color we can build up. That is gorgeous on its own. Wow. So I don't think any of these flat out dupes it, although I think the closest is going to be Blue Tango. That dark rich purple though might be my favorite. No, Persistent Memory is my favorite. Over the top, that purple is going to be my second favorite of it topped over something. I think it built up in 3 coats on its own is going to win it for me. Wow. Yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous. So that second mystery bag polish was Prince of the Pit. All right, so there we have it. That was my haul from Bee's Knees Lacquer. Let me know down below which one was your favorite. For me, I honestly don't know if I could pick a favorite because a lot of these were just incredible. None of these, by the way, fall into the regret category. All of them were stunning. Bee's Knees Lacquer is definitely one of those brands that I feel like I've let slide to the background, and I'm regretting that majorly. So I'm going to be trying to keep a better eye on their releases from now on. What I'm noticing is when they're doing their releases now, they don't exactly stay in stock like they used to. So unfortunately, there are some polishes from, I think, the collections from this round, or these 2 collections, yeah, Hellbent and Fourth Wing, that aren't available anymore. And those were up there on my wish list. And I just didn't realize how quickly they would sell out and then not get restocked. So I'm going to try to keep better tabs on what Bee's Knees Lacquer is releasing from now on. Like I mentioned in the video, it's one of my favorite brands and has been for quite some time. And this is sort of a good reminder of why it is for me. They just have astounding formulations. I love their magnetics. I love their shimmers. I love their shimmers mixed in with holographic. They have just beautiful colors. So yeah, very, very happy with the purchase. This was one that I had been sort of anxiously waiting by my mailbox for. So very happy with each and every polish. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be keeping more tabs on what they release going forward. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on that next one.